Welcome back to Coin Hunter USA, your ultimate guide to rare and valuable coins. Today, we are deep diving into 4 Lincoln Memorial pennies from 1987, 1989, 1993, and 1994. Could one of these common pocket coins be worth hundreds of dollars? Let's find out. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the hunt starts right now. Stop whatever you are doing and look very closely at the screen. What if I told you that a single, dirty copper cent from 1987, bearing one tiny, specific mark, could instantly liberate you from financial stress forever? To the rest of the world, this is a worthless piece of zinc. People drop it, ignore it, and leave it in car cup holders. But right now, elite coin hunters and secret numismatic billionaires are scouring the globe, spending thousands of hours trying to track down a handful of catastrophic mistakes made inside the Denver Mint in 1987. If you blink, you will miss the exact micro-anomalies that separate pocket change from a lifetime of generational wealth. Do not turn away, because we are about to break down the 4 ultra-rare errors that drive the value of the 1987 D penny to over $1.5 million. Let's unmask the truth. To truly understand how a 1-cent coin scales up to a valuation of over $1 million, we must examine the chaos of 1987. By this time, the United States Mint was fully committed to copper-plated zinc planchets. Billions of these pennies were struck, but under the immense speed and mechanical pressure of the Denver Mint, structural failures occurred that the government tried desperately to destroy. The tiny letter beneath the date 1987 signifies its origin. While standard versions are ordinary, a selective group of these coins suffered internal press errors that changed the fabric of coin collecting. The real treasure is buried in details invisible to the casual observer. Let's look at the very first mistake that turns this penny into a financial monster. The first error you must verify immediately is the 1987 D repunched mint mark. During production, the mint mark was punched into the working dies manually. In a moment of extreme mechanical misalignment, the die was slammed into the steel twice, creating a prominent, sharp secondary image. When you look under a high-powered loupe, you will see a clear shadow or overlapping lines on the curves of the D. If the separation is crisp and the coin has remained in a high mint state condition, you are no longer looking at change, you are looking at an asset class. The valuation. Because survival rates for this specific double stamp are incredibly low, demand has skyrocketed. Current estimated value, $280,000. Imagine pulling over $250,000 straight out of a forgotten piggy bank. But this is just the gateway. The numbers become staggering as we move deeper. This second error cannot be seen with your eyes. It must be felt by a scale. Historically, the Mint abandoned solid bronze pennies in 1982 to save money, switching to zinc. Zinc pennies weigh exactly 2.5 grams. However, in 1987, a major industrial oversight occurred. A handful of heavy, pre-1982 solid bronze planchets were left stranded inside the supply hoppers at the Denver Mint. They were accidentally fed into the machines and stamped with the 1987 D dies. If your 1987 D penny registers at exactly 3.11 grams, you have successfully authenticated a transitional alloy error. It is a coin that physically, legally, and historically should not exist. Current estimated value, $490,000. Stay locked in, because the next 2 errors cross the line into total numismatic insanity. Look at the sheer distortion of this piece. This is the 1987 D off-center strike. As the blank metal sheet slipped into the chamber, the automated feeding arms misaligned. The heavy machinery slammed down with thousands of pounds of pressure, catching only half of the planchet. In most cases, an off-center strike obliterates the date or the mint mark, destroying its premium value. But in an extraordinary stroke of luck, a rare variation exists where the coin is shifted exactly 50% off-center, yet the entire date, 1987, and the crucial Denver do remain perfectly struck on the edge. It is the ultimate trophy for error collectors who prize visual drama backed by verified data. Current estimated value, $780,000. And now, we approach the absolute peak. the holy grail that renders all other discoveries obsolete. This is the absolute pinnacle of modern mint mistakes. The 1987 D multi-strike indented error with a reverse die cap. This extreme anomaly occurred when a newly struck penny failed to eject from the press and became completely fused to the upper steel die. The automated line didn't halt. Instead, it kept hammering down over and over again into fresh blank planchets through the trapped coin. This created an impossible combination of multiple overlapping impressions of Lincoln's face, deep indentations, and a completely mirrored, capped reverse side. It is an absolute miracle of probability that this coin slipped past the quality inspectors and made its way into the public ecosystem. It is a true one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Current estimated value, $1,500,000 plus, over $1.5 million. A single cent that holds the purchasing power of a luxury estate, supercars, and absolute financial freedom. Before you spend your next penny, look for the date, check for the D, and inspect every single error. The million-dollar hunt is alive, and the treasure is waiting in plain sight. Will you be the one to claim it? Thank you for watching, and keep your eyes wide open. Stop scrolling right now. Look at this exact 1989 D penny. To the rest of the world, this is a dead piece of copper-plated zinc worth just 1 cent. But what if I told you that a select few of these exact coins contain a secret defect so terrifyingly rare that top-tier billionaires are paying over $1.5 million just to possess them? If you drop this coin in a vending machine or leave it in your car cup holder, you might be throwing away a life of absolute luxury, mansions, and sports cars. Hit that follow button right now because we are about to decode the secret connections, the dark history of 1989, and the exact 4 error marks that will turn your pocket change into a multi-million-dollar fortune. To understand how this coin became a financial monster, we have to trace its origins back to the literal brains that conceived it. The front face of this coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln, was brought to life in 1909 by a legendary sculptor named Victor David Brenner. President Theodore Roosevelt personally commissioned him to break a 100-year-old American tradition by putting a real human face on a circulating U.S. coin. Decades later, in 1959, the back of the coin was redesigned by Frank Gasparo to commemorate Lincoln's 150th birthday. These two brilliant minds never knew that their art would clash with mechanical errors inside the high-speed presses of the Denver Mint, creating anomalies that legally shouldn't exist. When this exact coin dropped out of the heavy automated minting presses in 1987, 1988, and finally hit its peak production in 1989, the world was in complete chaos. The year 1989 was a historical tipping point. The Berlin Wall was being violently torn down, the Cold War was collapsing, and the financial markets were under immense pressure. Inside the United States Mint, workers were pushing machines to their absolute limits to produce billions of pennies to keep the economy moving. Because of this massive, non-stop high-speed production pressure, the heavy steel dies began to crack, misalign, and fail under thousands of pounds of pressure, accidentally printing multi-million-dollar fortunes into ordinary change. Let's dissect the front face of this 1989 D penny, word by single word. There are exactly 4 words stamped into the metal on the front, and each holds a powerful, heavy meaning. First, looking directly over Lincoln's head, you see the phrase, "In God We Trust," a 4-word motto deeply rooted in American history to project unity and faith during times of national crisis. To the left of Lincoln's jacket is the single word liberty, which consists of 7 letters representing the core foundational right of freedom upon which the nation was built. Finally, you see the date 1989 with the small letter stamped beneath it. That D is the mint mark for Denver, Colorado, proving exactly where this metal was struck. If these 4 words display a specific microscopic distortion, your life is about to change forever. Flip the coin over, and the back side gets even more complex. The reverse face features exactly 6 words that frame the majestic Lincoln Memorial Building. At the very top, engraved in a bold arch, are the words, United States of America, cementing the sovereign authority of the government that issued it. Directly underneath, in smaller letters, is the sacred Latin phrase E pluribus unum, which translates to, out of many, one. signifying how multiple states combined to form a single powerhouse nation. At the bottom, the final two words read, 1 cent, explicitly stating its legal tender face value. But don't let those words fool you. If you look past the text and examine the errors, that 1 cent valuation completely evaporates. Now, grab a magnifying glass and a digital scale, because we are breaking down the 4 real-world errors. First is the 1989 D double die obverse, DDO. This happened when the machine violently stuttered, stamping the words, "In God We Trust," and the date, 1989, twice, creating a highly visible, crisp secondary shadow image. Collectors are hunting for this exact double outline, and a verified pristine copy is worth a staggering $290,000. Second, place your coin on a high-precision scale. Normal 1989 pennies are zinc and weigh exactly 2.5 grams. But if your 1989 D penny weighs a heavy 3.11 grams, it means it was accidentally struck on a leftover solid bronze planchet from the pre-1982 era. That metallurgical mistake alone carries a massive valuation of $480,000. The third error is a total visual monster that you can spot from across the room, the 1987 to 1989 D 50% off-center strike. During the chaotic, fast-paced production run, the blank metal planchet failed to sit properly inside the coiling chamber. When the heavy steel dies smashed down, they only caught half of the coin, leaving a massive, smooth crescent moon shape of unstamped metal. The absolute key to this error is that the date, 1989, and the D mint mark must remain 100% visible on the edge. Because this specific mechanical error is practically non-existent for this era, elite numismatists value this visual trophy at an unbelievable $750,000 at private auctions. But this final error is the undisputed king of modern numismatics, the 1989 D multi-strike indented error with a reverse die cap. This catastrophic event occurred when a newly minted penny failed to eject from the press and became fused to the upper die. Instead of shutting down, the machine kept hammering violently into blank coins right through the trapped penny. This structural madness created a coin with multiple overlapping impressions of Lincoln's face, deep industrial indentations, and a completely warped, blank-capped backside. It is a true miracle of probability that this escaped the mint's quality inspectors. The verified valuation for this legendary piece? Over $1,500,000. Check your piggy banks, check your pockets, and look for that 1989 D mark. Keep your eyes wide open, because the next $1,000,000 treasure could be in your hands right now. Now, the ultimate question that everyone is screaming right now: if you find one of these ultra-rare 1989 D era pennies, where on earth do you go to claim your $1.5 million? Do not under any circumstances take this to a regular local pawn shop or a standard bank, because they will never give you its true historical worth. To safely unlock this life-changing fortune, you must take your coin straight to elite, world-renowned numismatic auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or the Great Collections platform. These premier platforms specialize in high-tier rarities, where secret billionaires and institutional investors aggressively outbid each other, driving the prices into the stratosphere. Alternatively, you can first submit your coin to elite grading services like PCGS or NGC to officially verify and encapsulate your error. Once certified, you can securely list it on specialized premium marketplaces or look for verified collectors on trusted numismatic networks. The market is hunting for this coin right now, so secure your change, get it certified, and prepare to completely change your financial destiny forever. What if I told you that the copper coin sitting at the bottom of your drawer contains a direct genetic and historical link to a bloody civil war, a tragic assassination, and a secret monetary transition that elite bankers tried to hide for decades? This is not just a piece of metal, it is a time capsule. From the very moment this exact design was conceived in the brilliant, tormented mind of sculptor Victor David Brenner, to the deep chambers of the United States Mint, and finally into the hands of billionaires, every single transition of this coin is marked by political warfare and financial secrets. Millions of people spend this penny daily without realizing that the connection between Abraham Lincoln's death, the hidden codes on the obverse, and the architectural secrets of the reverse can make you a fortune. In this video, we are peeling back layers of history that schools refuse to teach you, leading up to a specific 1993 error that is valued at well over $1 million. Do not blink, because a single missed detail could mean throwing away a life-changing treasure. To understand why the 1993 Lincoln penny holds such a unique place in numismatic transitions, we must look at the chaotic world into which it was born. The year 1993 was a time of massive global and domestic shifting. Bill Clinton was inaugurated as the 42nd President of the United States, promising economic reformation. Globally, the world was adjusting to the post-Cold War era. The Soviet Union had recently dissolved, and the Internet was just beginning to bleed into mainstream society with the release of the Mosaic web browser. Culturally, the world was changing, and economically, inflation was creeping up. Inside the Philadelphia Mint, automated high-speed pressing machines were stamping out billions of these zinc-coated copper pennies to keep up with the commerce demands of a rapidly digitizing America. The mint workers were operating under intense pressure, leading to structural fatigue in the coin dies. This precise atmosphere of high-volume production amidst a changing world created the perfect storm for historic, rare, and ultra-valuable minting errors that escaped human inspection. Let us examine the obverse, the front face of this historic coin, which features 4 highly distinct words/inscriptions, comprising a total of 18 individual alphabetical characters. Each inscription is strategically placed to tell a story of national identity and deep-rooted symbolism. Abraham Lincoln's portrait, designed originally in 1909 by Victor David Brenner to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. Lincoln faces to the right, a deliberate design choice symbolizing him looking toward the future of a unified nation after surviving the American Civil War. In God We Trust, 4 words curving elegantly along the top rim. This phrase first appeared on U.S. coins during the religious fervor of the Civil War in 1864 but was mandated on the Lincoln penny to project national faith and stability during times of intense crisis. Liberty, 1 word positioned directly to the left of Lincoln's bust. This single word serves as the core foundational pillar of the American Republic, tracking its roots back to the fight against colonial oppression. 1993, 1 word/date located on the lower right quadrant. The absence of a mint mark beneath this date indicates it was struck at the mother mint, the Philadelphia Mint. When you total these elements, you have exactly 4 core written elements creating an intricate tapestry of power, politics, and survival. Flipping the coin over reveals the reverse side, featuring the magnificent Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo in 1959 to replace the old wheat ears design. The reverse contains exactly 3 distinct phrase inscriptions, totaling 7 words and 35 individual alphabetical characters. United States of America, 4 words arching boldly across the top rim, cementing the sovereign authority under which this legal tender was issued. E pluribus unum, 3 words positioned directly above the monument. This Latin phrase translates to, out of many, one. It represents the unification of the diverse states into a single, unbreakable union, a direct nod to Lincoln's ultimate sacrifice to preserve the country. 1 cent, 2 words anchored at the absolute bottom, indicating the denomination. The hidden detail. If you look with intense magnification directly into the center of the columns of the Lincoln Memorial Building, you can see a tiny, microscopic silhouette of Abraham Lincoln's statue inside. This makes the Lincoln penny one of the very few coins in global history to feature the exact same historical figure on both the obverse and the reverse sides simultaneously. A catastrophic mint error where a 1993 penny die struck a silver composition 10-cent planchet accidentally left in the hopper. Estimated value, $1,250,000 plus, over $1.2 million. Strong, crisp doubling visible under a microscope on the letters of Liberty and the numbers in the 1993 date due to a misaligned hubbing process. Estimated value, $25,000. Occurs when a struck coin becomes stuck to the upper reverse die, repeatedly smashing into subsequent blanks, creating a deep, dramatic thimble-like cap appearance. Estimated value, $15,000. In 1982, the mint switched to zinc coins with a thin copper coating. However, a few rare remaining experimental pre-1982 solid copper planchets were accidentally struck with the 1993 die. Estimated value, $85,000. If you discover that your 1993 Lincoln penny possesses one of these extreme errors, you must follow a strict corporate protocol to secure your millions. Do not clean the coin under any circumstances, as cleaning destroys the natural patina and reduces the value by up to 90%. Professional grading. First, ship your coin to elite, internationally recognized third-party grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. They will authenticate the error and seal it in a protective, tamper-evident slab with an official grade. High-end auction houses, $4 million errors, avoid local pawn shops or eBay. Instead, contact elite numismatic auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, HA.com, or Stack's Bowers Galleries. These platforms specialize in high-net-worth buyers who actively bid millions for historical anomalies. Imagine holding a tiny piece of copper in your hands, completely unaware that it carries a dark history of political power, a secret designer's revenge, and a catastrophic manufacturing mistake worth a staggering $1.2 million. Most people look at this 1994 D Lincoln Memorial penny and see absolutely nothing but a worthless, dirty 1-cent coin fit for a trash bin. But tonight, we are stripping away the layers of a decades-old monetary conspiracy to show you how a high-speed industrial accident inside the United States Mint turned this specific pocket change into a literal billionaire's treasure hunt. If you have ever touched an American penny, you need to freeze, stop whatever you are doing, and stare closely at your change right now, because the coin in your pocket might just be the exact ticket that completely transforms your financial destiny forever. The journey of this historic coin began long before it ever reached a cash register, conceived inside the highest, most powerful political offices of the United States government. In 1909, President Theodore Roosevelt personally broke a century-old American sacred tradition by ordering that a real human face, the legendary President Abraham Lincoln, be featured on a circulating coin to celebrate his 100th birth anniversary. To execute this executive order, Roosevelt personally chose a brilliant Lithuanian-born Jewish immigrant sculptor named Victor David Brenner, who crafted the timeless profile of Lincoln. But this creation was instantly hit by a massive national scandal when Brenner secretly sneaked his initials, VDB, onto the bottom of the coin. The public and the media erupted in absolute fury, calling it cheap artistic advertisement, which forced the U.S. Mint to immediately stop production and violently scrape his initials off the manufacturing dies. Fast forward 50 years later to 1959, marking Lincoln's 150th birthday, when the government demanded a monumental change to the back of the coin, commissioning the assistant engraver of the Philadelphia Mint, Frank Gasparo, to completely replace the original wheat stalks with the grand Lincoln Memorial structure. By the time the year 1994 arrived, the United States was undergoing a massive geopolitical and economic transformation under President Bill Clinton. The American economy was booming with the literal birth of the commercial internet, Amazon was just being founded, and the digital world was exploding. Deep within the walls of the Denver Mint, signified by the sharp capital letter D on the coin, massive automation and high-speed coin presses were taking over production to keep up with this economic boom, creating a high-pressure manufacturing environment that inadvertently became the perfect breeding ground for rare, catastrophic minting errors that are worth absolute fortunes today. When you look at the absolute front design of this 1994 penny, every single micro-detail tells a deep philosophical story. The words inscribed on the front are carefully laid out in a precise, structured order. At the very top, curving perfectly over Lincoln's head, are the 4 words, "In God We Trust." This phrase, consisting of exactly 4 words, was originally put on American money during the dark, bloody days of the Civil War to seek divine protection, and its placement here represents the ultimate survival of a unified nation. To the far left sits the single, powerful word, liberty. This word, consisting of exactly 1 word, stands as a permanent monument to the foundational bedrock of freedom and Lincoln's ultimate sacrifice to destroy slavery. On the bottom right, you see the exact date 1994 alongside the sharp letter D, identifying its birth at the Denver Mint. In total, the literal word count printed on the front design consists of exactly 5 words, creating a highly strategic layout where every sharp line of Lincoln's suit jacket and the crisp engraving of his tie were mathematically engineered to project economic power and global stability. Turning the coin over to the reverse side reveals a breathtaking architectural masterpiece shrunk down to a fraction of an inch, loaded with structural secrets. The inscriptions on the back are distinctly separated into 3 powerful phrases. At the very top, you see the 3 words, United States of America, declaring national sovereignty. Directly beneath it is the traditional Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one, adding another 3 words to celebrate the fusion of independent states into a single global superpower. At the absolute bottom, the legal face value is locked in with the 2 words, 1 cent. In total, the back design features a precise count of exactly 8 literal words. Visually, Frank Gasparo engraved the iconic Lincoln Memorial with absolute mathematical precision, featuring exactly 12 majestic neoclassical pillars standing boldly across the front facade. Leading up to these 12 pillars, the Mint struck 3 distinct, separate tiers of architectural steps, and if you look with a powerful magnifying glass between the central pillars, you can see the tiny, hidden silhouette of the statue of Abraham Lincoln sitting quietly inside his monument. But the real reason collectors will aggressively fight each other at elite auctions is the presence of 4 legendary mint errors that turn this copper coin into absolute gold. The first, most terrifyingly rare mistake is the 1994 Lincoln penny struck on a silver dime planchet, an ultra-rare mythic error valued at a staggering $1.25 million. During a chaotic shift at the Denver Mint, a blank silver composition dime disc accidentally slipped into the heavy tonnage coin press meant only for zinc pennies. The machine slammed down with thousands of pounds of pressure, trapping the 1994 penny design onto a silver planchet. If you find a 1994 penny that shines like bright silver, weighs completely wrong, and sticks firmly to a magnet, you are holding a certified $1 million masterpiece. The second major error is the 1994 double die obverse, valued at a spectacular $45,000. This happened when the machine alignment slipped, striking the coin die twice and leaving a distinct, ghostly doubling shadow clearly visible on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The third error is the 1994 heavy die clash, commanding a massive value of $12,000. This violent mechanical anomaly occurred when the upper and lower coin dies violently smashed directly into each other without a blank coin inside, causing the architectural columns of the Lincoln Memorial from the back to ghost right through the metal, appearing directly on Lincoln's throat on the front. The fourth and most visually shocking error is the 60% off-center strike, valued at $8,500. This beautiful mistake happens when the zinc blank fails to feed correctly, causing the coin press to smash only a fraction of the metal, leaving over half the penny completely blank, smooth, and crescent-shaped while violently pushing the 1994 date and the D mint mark right to the bleeding edge of the coin. Check your pockets, examine every single cent, because history proves that a fortune is often hiding in the palm of your hand.